merchants. This video is going to be about a couple of strange people I've met over the years. And I'm like 83 years old. I've spent over 20 years living, working, and traveling to 36 different countries. And I worked out of New York City, Northwest Indiana, Oregon, California, in different professions. And over time, you meet some strange people. And this video is going to be about a couple. And the first one that comes to mind, I joined the Marine Corps in 1961. And by 1962, they had sent me to Camp Hansen, Okinawa. Camp Hansen was just outside of Kin Village. They call it Kinville now. I'm not certain why they call it Kinville, but back when I was there, it was referred to as Kin Village. And I was I ran into this guy. He showed up in our platoon, and they called him Ski. I can't remember his last name, but that was his nickname, Ski. And he was a husky guy, pretty big build, and but he didn't have all his marbles. Anyway, when he came to my attention, we were in formation, and what they would do in the Marine Corps, if you're one of your leaders needed to tell you something, they'd have everyone go outside and get in formation, and you're not supposed to talk. You listen, and they'll relay any pertinent information they have for you. Well, anyway, in formation, the sergeant's talking to us, and I hear this guy behind me talking under his breath, and he said he didn't belong here, and he felt as though he was in the Twilight Zone. And I thought to myself, the sergeant didn't acknowledge that he heard him, but I'm sure he did. And I thought it's just a matter of time before someone comes and gets this guy, and he will think he's in the Twilight Zone. But anyway, after the formation, he shows up with all his gear to the cubicle that I'm assigned to. And what they did, we lived in these typhoon-proof barracks. They were brand new in '62, and they were one story, and they would have a cubicle on each side of the squad bay, and it didn't have a door or anything like that, completely open, and all it was a partition in between two bunk beds. And anyway, I was in there with a Marine. I had the top bunk. The Marine I was there with, he was on the bottom bunk, and there was no one in the bunk next to us except Ski showed up with his gear, and he decided he would sleep on the top bunk next to us. And the reason he chose the top bunk is because there was a fan on the wall. I believe there was a fan for each cubicle. And I'm sure that's why he, he took the top bunk, because that evening, when lights went out, he pointed the fan to his bunk. Now, what normally would happen is you put the fan on oscillate, where it would move back and forth, and everyone in the cubicle can stay relatively cool in the evening. And it gets hot there in Okinawa sometimes, and it was in their warm season. And I remember it being hot. And I asked him, I said, wouldn't it be better if we took the fan and put it where it would move back and forth? And Ski said, no, it wouldn't be better. This is how I want the fan. So I could see right away we had a problem, but also I could see this guy is not playing with a full deck. Anyway, we endured this for the first night. The second night came, and they were going to turn the lights out, and he's not there. Evidently, he was at the Enlistment's Club drinking, and so my buddy and I, we decided, well, we'll turn the fan on us, and we'll take twine and tie it on the fan where he can't move it, right? And so the lights went out, and we went to bed. And he comes in later, much later, and right away he's talking to himself. He was mystified why the fan wasn't pointed in his direction. And when he went to move the fan, he didn't, since the lights were out, he didn't see that it was tied, and his hand slipped, and one of his fingers hit the fan. And you could hear this ding, and he said something. I can't remember what he said, but it was obvious that it had hit his finger. Anyway, he got his K-bar out and cut the twine that was holding the fan and moved it in his direction. And, I don't remember what happened to him, but someone came and got him. I can't remember the circumstances, but before they got him, this is a funny story. There was a guy that was stationed there with me, and he was in the same platoon as me, and we ended up being iron workers together, and his name was Donnie Goodrich. And we ended up, when we both got out of the Marine Corps, we ended up as iron workers in Local 395, Hammond, Indiana. And anyway, when we were on Okinawa together, Ski asked Donnie, he says, what size shoe do you wear? And he told him, he said, well, that's the size I wear. He said, you mind if I borrow your shoes to go on Liberty? Because he said, my shoes are in the shoe repair, and I don't have anything to wear. So Donnie, he loaned Ski his shoes, which he should have never done, because we were having an inspection the following morning in uniform, and of course they expect you to have your shoes spit shined for sure, and of course your rifle cleaned and everything. Anyway, so Ski goes out in the village, Kid Village, gets drunk, and came back, and next morning, Donnie asked him for his shoes, and Ski brought out Donnie's shoes, and they were full of mud, and handed it to him, and then he pulled out his shoes, dress shoes, which were spit shined, and put his uniform on. Of course, he looked squared away, and Donnie's trying to figure out how to get this mud off his boots or his shoes so he can stand inspection. But anyway, I don't know where Ski is today, but I would imagine if he's still alive, he's in a mental institution someplace. Uh, anyway, fast forward, I'm an iron worker now. And there was one guy that I used to work with a lot, most of the time out of 395, Freddie Maurer, really unbelievable guy. We were partners together for years, and we used to even go to Mexico together. But anyway, we were on this job, and there was an older iron worker that was in our gang, and his I remember his name was Wally. I wouldn't say his last name anyway. I'm sure he's passed away a long time ago. Nice guy. Uh, when you talk to him, I mean, he seemed normal and everything, but as he got to know us, he told us that a UFO landed in his backyard. Excuse me. Now, he lived in Whiting, Indiana. Whiting, Indiana was a small town. It had all the oil refineries there. The homes were mostly small homes, very small lots. And I'm trying to picture a UFO landing in his backyard, which he claimed it did. And so we're listening to the story, and Wally said he was getting ready for bed. He was in the kitchen, and he saw these lights in his backyard, and he saw the UFO land in his backyard. So he went out the back door into his backyard, and he said when he did, the door opened, and he could see the light coming from inside the UFO, and there was an alien standing there, and the alien motioned for Wally to come aboard. And according to Wally, he went into the craft, and that's the last thing he remembered. He didn't remember anything else other than leaving the UFO and going back into his home, back to the kitchen, and he saw it lift off. And as far as we knew, there were never any police reports filed, and none of his neighbors saw this event. And we mentioned that to him, and he said, well, what he thinks happened is they just erased their memory, like they did his when he entered the craft. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that. You know what's interesting is if you feather merchants have been watching the news lately, UFOs, they've been talking about them. Newscasters, documentary crews, and of course, a lot of people they still think they're aliens up in Area 51 and so forth. And anyway, it's interesting. Um, I'm here to tell you that it's a myth. But anyway, I think at some point in time I'll make another video and explain to you why I believe that. Anyway, that's two stories about two very strange people that I encountered during my lifetime. And you know what comes to mind? There's one more that just comes to mind. And when I was working inside Pelican Bay State Prison, and I was there with the California Department of Correction for 17 years, and 16 of those years I was working inside Pelican Bay. And I'll tell you something, when you're in prison, you meet a lot of strange people. And then you have the inmates. Just kidding. I could just see some old retired correctional sergeant saying, watching this program and saying, what did he say? And no, it's just a joke. Most of the strange people I met in prison, they were inmates. And this story is about one of them. And I was new to Pelican Bay, fairly new, and I got this assignment working in on B Yard in Building 8. And Building 8, uh, they called it a hard C program at the time. I don't remember what it stands for, but all I remember is the inmates in that building were not allowed to go to the main line, to exercise yard, for whatever reason. They had to go to a concrete yard, and they had to go to that concrete yard for a few months before they would approve them to go to the main exercise yard where they could lift weights and participate in stabbings out there. Anyway, I was new in this building. I was a building officer, and as a building officer, you're required to do 3 cell searches a day. That's what they want you to do. So when the inmates went out to the yard, I just picked out some cells by randomly, and I picked out this one cell in C section. And I remember having an officer, a control booth officer, open the door, and as soon as the door opened, I thought, oh, I could smell feces. And I looked, and there's feces on the wall, on the kid's table. This guy is making chess pieces out of feces and little images of animals with his feces. So I back out right away and returned to my office, and I waited till he came off the yard, and I had him come to my office, and I told him this nonsense about putting feces on your walls of your cell and making these sculptures out of your feces is going to stop right now. And I said, what I want you to do, I want you to take a bucket, mop, disinfectant, and you clean out that cell. And I said, if you fail to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the goon squad and have them come over, and they will take you into the basement and they will beat you silly. And there's some people that do not come back from that basement. And do you understand me? And he said yes. And of course, I was making this up. There was no, in case there's any FBI agents watching this video, there were no goon squad, and there was no basement. No one was beating anyone up. But I just told him that to get him to stop his inappropriate behavior. Anyway, he did. He cleaned up his cell, and he came back to the office, and he told me, he said, there's one problem he's got. He said, periodically, he gets the urge to put feces in his hair. And to start with, this guy was, he was a black guy, tall. He was built pretty solid. And he had this hairstyle where his hair would stick up like in spikes. He looked like something out of from another planet. That's what he looked like. And I told him, I said, don't do that. I said, the next time you get the urge to put feces in your hair, use peanut butter. And the reason I said that is because they would issue those guys peanut butter with their lunches, and most of them would use it as an ingredient in Pernod, inmate manufactured alcohol. Anyway, he agreed to that, and I'll be darned. about once a month, this guy would show up with peanut butter in his hair. It was the darndest thing I ever saw. Anyway, that's a story about three very strange people that I encountered that I thought I'd share with you, Feather Merchant. And I'd like to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video.